Welcome to Inside the IDB or Dentro del Vid, a space where we open our doors so we can show you a little about how life is inside our institution. My name is Mariana Pol Longo, and I'm the Division Chief for Strategic Planning and Knowledge at IDB Invest. I'm excited to be moderating this panel today with my colleagues Irene Arias. Irene Arias, the CEO of IDB Lab, Jean-Michel Baudoin, CIO and General Manager, and Laura MacCanlies, IDB Invest Chief for IT and Analytics. As many of you know, we recognize March as Women's History Month. It is an opportunity to celebrate all the women in Latin America and the Caribbean that are doing and working towards making a difference for the future generations to ensure that they can experience a more equitable and gender-balanced future. Today, we want to bring awareness to women's impact in one of our Vision 2025 pillars, digital transformation. And throughout this LinkedIn Live, Irene, Laura, and Jean-Michel will be sharing their experience and perspectives on female leadership in this area. Thank you again for joining us in this conversation, for helping us to share our efforts to advance our Vision 2025, which aims to contribute to the recovery and sustainable growth of our region. Before we begin, I also want to encourage our audience to send in your questions. We will make space towards the end of the broadcast to address a few of them. As a starting point, I'd like to ask each of you to briefly describe how digital transformation plays a role within your work in our institution. Irene, would you like to start?
Great. Thank you so much, Marina, and good afternoon, everyone. Great to be here with Jean-Michel and Laura as well. And maybe start with why digital transformation, first of all. Well, as the IDB Lab, as the innovation lab of the IDB group, of course, it's at the heart of our work, finding new solutions to provide a better response for the recovery of the region. And that more and more entails digital solutions. And so understanding the challenges and the opportunities of digital transformation is crucial so that we can then deploy a very deliberate approach when we support innovators, we support startups, etc. Because without that deliberate approach to digital transformation and the selection of digital solutions, we may not be able to close the social gaps and the socioeconomic gaps in the region. We need to make sure that the digital transformation in the region and the solutions that we support are digitally inclusive. And so that's one aspect. But the other aspect of why digital transformation matters so much to us is because we want to be able to provide the best experience possible to our clients and to the partners that we support. And that in that sense, we have embarked in and we look at digital transformation both internally and externally. So internally, in order to better serve and provide a better experience to our clients, be more agile, being able to engage communities around topics that we specialize in, and also be more data-driven so that we can generate and apply continuously the knowledge that we generate, and we know why something has failed or is successful and can reapply those lessons. And externally, we have, like I said, obviously it's at the heart of what we do to support new business models, new solutions, and they do entail often digital models. And sometimes the two overlap, the internal and the external. So, for example, when we built the LACchain Alliance that now provides an interoperable blockchain platform for anybody in the region, that is being used internally at the IDB. For example, cross-border payments, it's a possibility, but it's also something that can be used by anybody in the region. And maybe just to comment as well, who does this and how do we generate the capacity internally to embark in this digital transformation journey? And for us, we formed a group of people that comes from different parts of the organization. It includes, of course, colleagues from the technology department. And it's a DG tribe. We call it the DG tribe. And it's, by the way, led 70% by women. So that team is the core team that is helping us navigate this digital transformation journey.
Thank you, Irene. Jean-Michel.
Thank you, Marina, and good afternoon, everybody. So if you don't mind, I'm going to continue to talk about the internal digital transformation. So Irene mentioned internal transformation, external transformation. My job is more actually to focus on the internal transformation. What we've done is we decided actually at the end of 2021 at the bank to create what we call a digital transformation program office at the IDB group level. And we want to make sure with this program that we are executing digital transformation internally, like Irene mentioned, consistently and systematically. Okay. And the reason that we need to do this execution of digital transformation is that it's crucial to meet our Vision 2025. Marina touched base on the 2025 during the introduction. This is very important, and we need digital transformation to meet that Vision 2025. We know that our clients expect us to be more relevant and more responsive. We know that, so we must undergo this transformation, and we must create what we call the 21st century IDB. This 21st century IDB is an IDB that we wish is going to be more sophisticated, more responsive, and more relevant. And we really hope that it's going to help us change the trajectory of our countries and simply continue our mission, which is improve life. And to build that bank of the future, the 21st century bank, we have to change a few things. Irene mentioned data, so this is one thing that we need to do. We need to change the way we are using data inside the bank. We need to change the way that we are using technology inside the bank, but we also need to change and adapt our culture and change and adapt our ways of working. So you see, when we talk about internal digital transformation at the IDB, we are really talking about a mission-driven transformation. This is really to focus on Vision 2025. It's not really a goal in itself, it's more like a journey that we are going to take all together at the bank in order to meet Vision 2025 and ultimately become more relevant and more responsive for our client. That's the goal that we want to have. This journey has already started a few months ago, but we are going to make it a bit more official. Actually, we are going to do an internal week-long event in mid-April, where we are going to embark and engage all of our employees into this journey. It's very important that we engage everybody, because you don't do a digital transformation internally to an institution like the bank if we don't have everybody behind it and everybody supporting it. So that's very, very important. So during that week, we are going to talk about the why, the what, and the how of the digital transformation. So the idea is to have every day some short sessions, some panel discussion with internal speaker and external speaker as well, that are going to talk about cultural change, that are going to talk about data, that are going to talk about technology, of course, and that are going to talk about how to change the ways of working. And again, Irene mentioned that 70% of the tribe, of the digital tribe, were women. This is an event which is about digital transformation, but also about gender diversity. And I'm very happy as well to say that during that major digital transformation event, we're actually going to have more than half of the speakers are going to be women. So just to show already that, diversity is going to be key in our mission-driven transformation. That's all.
Thank you, Jean-Michel. Laura, please.
Yeah, and I just following up with what Jean-Michel and Irene said, from the perspective of IDB Invest. So we are serving the private sector in Latin America and the Caribbean, and we're trying to impact. And so how can you do that better? Really is through really digitalizing all your services to be able to be more efficient and to get there faster. And so for us in IDB Invest, and what we focus on is really helping IDB Invest scale up their operations and maximizing the use of the data. Our clients are extremely important. This is an initiative that started 2.5, 3 years ago under the leadership of our Chief Investment Officer, but also that has helped us catapult into getting closer to our clients and delivering some solutions that are now are doable with them, with our clients, and getting closer with them. But also from a part of operationalization of increasing our capacity, we are looking into very innovative solutions to be able to help the region to get our products faster. And we made that possible using emerging technologies. We were able to really, in one way or another one, we were allowing for democratization of credit for small companies in the reverse logistics. I'm very excited to see that all of these things that we have to do to help the region, we can do those really helping through technology and digitalization. Having different points of view are extremely important, and that's one of the reasons my team in the analytics and technology, we are from 40% of women, and that brings a different perspectives of how we do things, how we resolve problems. So to me, this is such a great opportunity to take IDB and group and lab and IDB Invest to the next level, because the impact that we might do is going to get maximized with all these initiatives that we have going forward, and especially with the digital transformation.
Thank you all for sharing how embedded digital transformation is within everything that we do, and how important it is to really achieve and walk towards Vision 2025. As a member of the senior leadership of IDB, Jean-Michel, what would you say are the keys to successful digital leadership? And what do you consider critical about the participation of female leaders within this transformation?
So Marina, there's two questions, right? The first one is criteria for successful digital leadership, and the second one is the participation of female leaders in digital transformation. Okay. So if we think about the first one, so key criteria for successful digital leadership, I think when we talk about digital leadership, three things come in mind, at least to mind. First one is, of course, the culture. Okay. When we're talking about digital leadership, I think it's important that we have the right culture. Culture is, how we think as an organization. So of course, every organization should have or must have a different type of culture. But overall, in digital leadership, we are really looking at leaders that have a culture of innovation at heart. That are thinking outward, that have client-centric in their heart, and that always thinking about continuous improvement mindset. So this is the type of culture that we are looking for. The second thing, probably on top of culture, when we talk about digital leadership, is clearly adaptability and agility. Okay, we need to accept that things are changing. Okay, and they are changing all the time, and sometimes they are changing that you can anticipate, and sometimes you cannot. And sometimes it's inside your control. You can actually decide for the change, but sometimes it's actually outside of your control. So you need to have again adaptability in your heart in order to be a good digital leader. You need to accept that constant changes, and you need to be prepared for the unexpected. And we need to do that with agility. So adaptability is one thing. Agility is another part of this, because we need to adapt to the change, but we also need to adapt very fast. So agility is also critical. And maybe the last point on digital leadership, I would talk about data and technology. So of course, I'm always passing the message to my team and to this institution that digital transformation is not just about technology and data, but it's technology and data are also part of digital transformation. It's not only about that, but this is also part of it. So we also need leaders who understand and believe that with data and technology we can make a difference. Okay, we can adapt quicker, we can take better decisions, and we can do things, we can change things. But it goes also beyond just understanding and believing in it. We're looking for digital leaders that actually show concretely on a day-to-day basis that they are using data and technology to be more efficient, to be faster and better in their decision-making process. So I think this is important. When we talk about digital leader, I always say we don't want digital leader that just support the change. We want digital leader that actually drive the change. So I think that's important. Concerning your second questions about participation of female leaders in digital transformation. So, as I said before, first is digital transformation is a must for the bank. Okay, we need to do it, and we need to do it to meet our vision 2025. It must happen now, and we have to be successful. We don't really have a choice here. And because it's a transformation, what we are going to do is we are going to actually change the way people are working, the way that people are thinking, the way that they are using tools, the way that they are using technology. So you cannot do a transformation like that. I mean, you cannot transform the way people are doing, thinking, and working if you don't have a digital team and digital leaderships, which is very representative of the people that are going to go for this transformation. So at the bank, more than half of the workforce are women, which is great. So we need to have the same level of diversity inside a digital leadership team. Otherwise, this is not going to work. Okay, that's not going to happen. Second reason why we need diversity, and it's very obvious actually, but diversity works. Okay, it brings value to any type of team. I think that the discussions around is diversity a key differentiator? Is diversity bringing value? This discussion is over. We all know that when you have diverse opinion, diverse type of mindset, you are making better and faster decisions. We know that. Okay, thinking alike organization do not bring innovation. Thinking alike organization do not bring adaptability. Thinking alike organization do not bring agility or flexibility. And we need all of this to succeed. So, diversity is a key component of any successful transformation. There's no doubt about that. And the last reason, which is maybe less of a reason, but still very important for the bank and this institution, and I don't remember if it was Marina or Irene was talking about this, but diversity, equity, and inclusions, they are part of the Vision 25 of the bank. Okay, so we are pushing for that. We are, ambassador of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So, as a leader, we don't have the choice to just, lead by example. So we need as well inside our organization to, push for more diversity. So, we are trying to do that in the IT department and, the digital department. We're trying to do that. Usually, I don't like talking about, diversity in terms of figures, because for me, diversity is a strength, it's not a KPI. But sometimes you have to be able to measure as well the strength, so you need KPI. But in our technology department, my predecessor, my leadership team, the entire staff, and myself, we are really, really focusing on trying to create a more gender balanced and diverse workforce. So today we have 41% of the workforce that are women. It's a good number. It's not a great number, but it's a good number, and the trend is here. The trend is positive. What I'm very proud as well is that it's not only 40% of the workforce, it's 40% of the leadership level as well. So we have diversity at every level of the organization. And I think this is very important as well. Diversity is not in one floor of the organization. Diversity must be at every floor of the organization. And again, so the trend positive, we're trying to work on that all the time. And it's not just a matter of, me leading that thing. It's the entire leadership team and the entire staff. But we will definitely continue to build a stronger team by bringing gender diversity inside the team. So it's a strength and a must, clearly. Thank you, Marina.
Thank you, Jean-Michel, for sharing the breadth of skills that it takes to be a digital leader and how mainstream it needs to be through our organization for an organization to be successful. Laura, from your point of view as a female leader and considering how the world of work is changing, what do you see in terms of implications for the implementation of digital transformation initiatives, whether positive or challenging, for the workforce and more specifically for women?
Well, since the last 2 years, we all went through really working remotely and getting home and working from due to COVID, right? But that allowed us to really realize that all our work can be done digitally, or at least a lot of it. And so having said that, what has happened is that there is a really huge urgency for organizations and companies to pivot and start thinking more digitally. And how do you do that? Well, you do that through the inclusion and defining roadmaps and changing culture, etc. But one of the biggest things are that getting an understanding of your staff and the people that are working with you. And if you have women that are working from home, they haven't, you saw it, they're keeping their kids, and then if they have somebody who can help them, well, that's one thing. But if they don't, then you're not really supporting husband. They can take turns taking the kids when they are working, or having a very good support. And also, one thing that I believe is extremely important is having really a lot of support from their management. And why? Because I've been there, right? My daughter was growing up, she got sick. I had sometimes to stay home. So I had to be understanding that I needed to adapt the schedules for some of the women that were working in our team in order to accommodate for that, right? Of course, at the end of the day, it's about the results. And the thing is, that also opened the doors for different team members in our group. Also, our male leaders, they had to take care of their kids too. So I think having empathy for our employees and the people that we work with, I think is extremely important, because we all want to give a lot, but also to maximize how we are contributing. I think is really helpful to have that empathy. At the same time, bringing really the skill sets that you need to bring a change like this. Not only you need technology and data background. I think the backgrounds that are going to be extremely necessary during a change like this. You need people who are good on change management, people that are good on business process changing, design thinking. These are different skill sets that you don't only encounter in just one IT department or technology department or data department. You encounter them across the organization. When you drive change, you really have to drive it from the core. And core is about changing the way you do things, just thinking it through it and seeing it from a different angles. So to me, I think the opportunities are huge, but also we have to be very mindful about what we need to get there and how we can level up the playing field for everybody, and women inclusively and LGBT to be part of what we're doing.
Thank you, Laura. Digitalization definitely offers many opportunities for female empowerment, and as an institution, we will need to make sure that we support and include all of our employees in these opportunities and that the digitalization journey offers. Irene, turning to you now. As the leader of the IDB's lab, which has a priority to strengthen diversity and entrepreneurship in Latin America and the Caribbean, how do you envision the impact of digitalization in increasing the number of women-led businesses in the region?
Well, we're very hopeful because we can see that even, of course, there is what Jean-Michel said in terms of the very, very well demonstrated now business case for doing it. The fact that women-led companies on average have 35 more return on investment than men-led only companies, but we do know also that despite this evidence, there are barriers, and we need a concerted effort to break down those barriers. There could be helping women access jobs that are less informal, less part-time, less better paid or equally on an equal pay basis. But this is particularly the reason I said we are hopeful is because we're seeing a lot of opportunities in careers of women who pursue entrepreneurship in STEM, companies that are emerging now, and that we've been able to support quite a number of them through programs, for example, like We Exchange, that for now almost 10 years has been working throughout the year on mentoring, coaching, connecting, and also providing financing, our own as investor in startups, but also from the top tier fund managers in the region to leading emerging startups in STEM led or co-led by women. And actually just before our encounter here today, I saw that one of the We Exchange winners of a previous pitch competition, Kamal Datlani, who is the co-founder of Lab4U, has been just accepted as the first startup from LATAM by Morgan Stanley Labs to be accelerated. So we're seeing a lot of success stories. I think that will generate enthusiasm, will generate more interest from other women in the region to pursue this type of activity. And I also, and here, Jean-Michel said, like, we need to see more female leaders or digital leaders, not just supporting, but driving. And I think this is a great example. But we are seeing many, many more. And going back to the theme that I mentioned earlier of the internal and external digital transformation sometimes meeting, I think as IDB we could also encourage more and open up a market for some of these entrepreneurs. And there are examples already of for example, women who've gone through the training of laboratoria in a lot of the skills that Laura was mentioning, like both hard skills and soft skills as well. And they've been working with the IDB as well. And so I think that we need to promote a lot more and walk the talk, as well as continue to support emerging women entrepreneurs in STEM across the region.
Thank you, Irene. It sounds really promising. And building on the internal theme, I know that you have spoken up for women in the workplace, and you're active and a visible sponsor of our employee resource group, WomenNet. What impact can your role as an advocate for women have in this digital transformation process?
Well, the reason I jumped in as soon as the opportunity was there to support WomenNet is because often it's about creating pathways and opportunities for women to be able to jump in and step up and take them and accompany that with the ability to form better networks and so I think that this network is doing exactly that, no, and it can open those pathways for women at every level of leadership in the organization to go to the next stage and to not be hesitant to seize new opportunities and open up those doors for them. So I think it's a great initiative, and we should do more of this.
Thank you, Irene, for sharing the importance of our employee resource groups in building all the support, networking, mentoring, and connections that are needed within an organization for women and other diverse populations to succeed. Now, before we turn to questions from our audience, I want to make sure to give all of you an opportunity to answer the following question to wrap up. From your standpoint, what's the best advice that you could give for women to be included and build their own digital future? And perhaps, Laura, would you like to start?
Yes, and I'm very passionate about this one. I can tell you that I think there are three things that I have seen. I mean, there is so many, but if there are just summary and three, I can tell you that one thing that is extremely important is curiosity, and be always curious about learning and understanding what's going on. And that means continuous learning. Build strong partnerships. The world is no longer that you can do things alone. You have to do co-creation, and you can co-create with others in different fields, and you can power that with digitalization is great, but you don't have to know it. You can just partner up with somebody who knows it and you go for it. And the third one, especially for us women, sometimes it's hard to express our opinions. Don't wait to be asked what you are thinking. You have to speak up, stand up, and raise your hand, because usually what happens is the one that talks the loudest is the one that you end up hearing what they're thinking. And in my opinion, you have to speak up and you have to raise your hand. And if they don't hear you, you start opening your mouth. So that's what I can say.
Thank you, Laura. We'll take that with us for sure. Jean-Michel.
Yeah, I mean, Laura mentioned some good points, so maybe I can focus a bit more on, how to build like a diversity inside your team. Because again, I mean, with the challenges that we have ahead of us, organization and teams that think alike would fail. This is 100% sure. So diversity is, again, no longer a KPI, it's a necessity. And to build diversity inside your team, I mean, you need to start from the beginning, and the beginning is the recruitment process. So you need to tackle diversity right from the start, right from the recruiting process, and you need to make sure that you take diversity as a key criteria for your recruiting process. That's as simple as that. And the good news is, especially in the IT world and in the digital world, I mean, just like Irene mentioned for the startup, we see a lot more women inside this field, these practices, and this is a very, very good news. And this is thanks to the STEM, all the big push that we are doing in school, university, startup and junior program, internship. So we see all of this, and I think this is very important because we need that workforce, and we need to make sure that we recruit that workforce right from the beginning. And also, once you've done that, I mean, you've done just half of the job. Okay, you have recruited women. That's great. Okay, but now how do you grow and develop women inside your organization? Because again, as I said before, we need diversity in every single floor of this organization and not just in one floor. So that's also a challenge. So we need to work on that. And I can only just encourage all the diversity initiative that we have in this organization and elsewhere. Mentoring works very well. Irene mentioned employee resource group. That works extremely well as well. So we need that. I know that, for instance, in my organization, we are putting in place a diversity, inclusion, and equity officer to, just focus a bit more on that. Sponsor program, we have young women in technology, for instance, at the bank. This is also something that is very important. So I think that, once you tackle the recruiting issue and, you have that, you also need to think about how you can make sure that you're putting everything in place possible to make sure that, you have an environment where women can grow and develop in this organization. Because again, and it's last time I'm saying it, but, organizations that do not have diversity, organizations that think alike would definitely fail in any type of transformation.
Thank you, Jean-Michel, for highlighting the importance of that ecosystem that wraps around the success of women in an organization. Irene.
Keeping up an open mind, I think the what if mentality is very important. I think the things are changing constantly, so also have kind of the build open collaborative networks, because we won't be able to each do it in a silo. That won't work. And be appreciative of the effort that everyone, at least everyone around me in the team here at IDB Lab and across other IDB groups that we work with, parts of the group we work with, be appreciative of the effort that they make every single day. I think we have an extraordinary committed team, and in the Digi Tribe, it's as I said, a pretty diverse team. Some of the women in that team, Mara Balestrini, Daisy Hernandez, Rosario Valverde, are from IDB Lab and from the IT department, and it's just one team. So I think those are some of the things that I would encourage everyone to keep in mind.
Thank you, Irene. And before we wrap up, I'd like to make sure that we have some time to answer questions from our audience. So let me read a few of them. First one would be, what is the first step needed to build a digital transformation plan within my team? Should the first step be to optimize internal processes? Perhaps Jean-Michel, you'd like to start, and if Irene or Laura want to build on, please go ahead afterwards.
Yeah, I can start with that, and I understand the question, but okay, starting with your optimization of your internal processes is something that you have to do, but for me it's definitely not the first step. The first step in any type of digital transformation is you need to define why you want to do it. Okay. And this is what we've done at the bank. At the bank, we didn't say we want to do digital transformation. That was not a goal again. What we say is we have a vision 2025 that we want to meet. Okay, this is what we want to do. This is our business objective. And in order to do that, we need to do different things, including a digital transformation. And inside your digital transformation, you're going to find different, axes of transformation. You're going to find technology, because technology is very important, of course. You're going to find cultural change is also important. And you're going to find as well, transformation around your processes. So I don't want to say it's the first thing that you have to do. You have to do it at one point. It also depends on where you are inside your organization. Some organizations, they are very advanced in terms of technology, and the processes is a challenge. So maybe you need to focus more on processes, but it could be also the opposite. That really depends on where you are. But what you have to remember is, even when you look at your processes, if this is what you want to change, is you have to change your processes, but always thinking about the goal. Okay, and the goal is not digital transformation. The goal is whatever business objective you actually define. Okay, and so for us at the bank is Vision 2025 is how we are becoming more relevant and more responsive. That's what we have to do.
Thank you, Jean-Michel, for reminding us to put the why at the center of everything that we do.
Yeah. Always start with the why. That makes your life a lot easier.
Laura, I have another question that perhaps you can get us started with. As a woman in STEM, what do you suggest for someone who's just starting a career in international development?
It's one thing that I never thought, and I'm new in this field, probably the last three and a half years, is the potential opportunities that you have in working in a multilateral company like this or organization, is that using your STEM skills to be able to impact the region are just so priceless, because it gives you so much meaning to the work you do. And if you can bring your skills that are really to analyze data, or to your skill sets of really software development, but more importantly, doing a combination of everything that you learn at school and put it in a way that really is going to have very tangible results and communities. I think, to me, that is priceless. And I can tell you that that's one of the the thing that I'm most proud of working in IDB Invest, is the mission that we have and how we all bring our different skill sets and expertises to be able to impact. And being in the field that is in STEM, we bring a different perspective even. Why? Because you have a lot of economists in the organization, right? And so when you are an engineer, can have a different perspective. That's another diversity of thought that you bring. So I think the opportunities are huge, especially if you want to make a big impact beyond you, right?
Thank you, Laura. Would anyone in the panel like to build on that question, or should I go to the next one? I jump into the next one, and then maybe we can wrap up. Thank you, Laura. I really like the idea of the diversity of thought as another as a key kind of competitive advantage for people to build on as they join new organizations and new fields. One question that we have here also, and perhaps Irene, you can kick us off, would be about how do you envision the impact of digital transformation in the participation of women in labor markets, financial markets, and entrepreneurship?
Yep. Maybe building on the example of Kamal that I mentioned earlier of Lab4U, I think she's one of many examples. I think the emergence of disruptive technologies and the combination of them and how they become embedded in a lot of the solutions that are emerging in health, in education, in financial services, etc., open up a lot of space for diverse teams to come together, because these solutions are not going to emerge thinking monolithically in a vertical. They are going to emerge by sometimes even serendipity of things that you didn't expect, and a solution for something that you were looking for comes from a very unexpected place. And I think that sort of a mindset of being open to this way of looking at the world and analyzing the problem and looking for the solutions, I think it requires diverse teams with diverse skills that combine hard skills with soft skills. And I think women are very, very well positioned to emerge as leaders in these fields and have a much more diverse workforce in what is to emerge as the future of work in this whole space. But we do have to have, as an organization, a very deliberate approach to create the pathways, create the networks, the support, articulate the resources that go into providing like the first seed capital for some of these new companies, etc. And I think that's what we are here to do, and it's very exciting what we can see in the next few years.
Thank you, Irene. I really like the idea of digital transformation of a hotspot for diversity, because it's actually needed, needs to be embedded for it to be successful, all the diversity of thought that needs to come into it. One question that also someone in the audience shared is about whether any of you care to share some suggested readings in order to keep up with the speed of digital transformation, leadership, and best practices. Would any of you have any tips to share?
Can you see that question again? Sorry, Mariana, I just want to make
Absolutely. Any suggested readings to keep up to speed with digital transformation, leadership tips, and best practices?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Too many to share now?
Yeah. I have some suggestions, and this is I don't focus just on one book, but information is like all over the place. So how can you really start consuming information on what's going on? Things are changing a lot. I do subscribe to some news that is kind of rolled up, and I have different interests. And one of them that I'm very fascinated is really banking, investment banking, how it's changing, how it's transforming. And when you roll up that information, you review it. There are different publications online that are doing that. I don't have all the names in my head, but you subscribe to roll up. I use Feedly, so that's how I roll up my information, and I just start subscribing and receiving from and repost and share with other people and subscribe to podcasts. So to me, that's the fastest and easiest way to consume tons of advances in what is going on in the market.
Yeah, I recommend Margaret Heffernan. I think she's written a number of books like Willful Blindness, also Beyond Measure. And I think sometimes, everything that goes around digital transformation can be, a lot of buzzwords, and it's, as Jean-Michel said, it's not the goal in itself. It's just a tool. And the important thing is to keep in mind why we're doing this. So it helps dissect, and it helps also, her books are very good in terms of understanding the value of diverse teams, which is so relevant for digital transformation. And the other one is Prosperity Paradox, which we connect to a lot at IDB Lab. This is from Christensen, Clayton Christensen, and it does connect how digital or disruptive technologies can help development, and particularly close the social and economic gaps for the more vulnerable and poor population and so I think it's a good it's also a good reference for the why we're doing this. Digital transformation is just a tool.
Yeah, and if I may complement, so there's tons of books on digital transformation for sure that I invite you to read. But if you work at the bank and if you are interested about digital transformation, I invite you to join the event that we are organizing mid-April. This is the best way to learn about digital transformation at the bank and what we are planning to do, the why, the how, and the what. So you should receive an invitation shortly next week, and you would have the pleasure to have to listen to great speakers, external speakers, but also internal speakers, people from Bid Invest, Bid Lab, and the bank. So it's not a reading, but it's a very, very good way to learn about digital transformation at the IDB Group.
Thank you to all of you. I think we're running out of time. Thanks to all the audience as well for the great questions. And we hope that at some other point we'll be able to answer more. Before closing though, I want to highlight that once again that our commitment to honor the accomplishments and legacy of all of our diverse communities here at the IDB Group and beyond goes beyond this month. We want to make this an everyday action, and that is why we're working with our employee resource groups, allies, stakeholders to boost our efforts throughout the year. I want to close this Inside the IDB by thanking Irene, Jean-Michel, and Laura, and all the team behind this initiative. And thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for future IDB Inside the IDB LinkedIn Lives. And finally, if you, like all of us in the panel, want to contribute to improving lives in Latin America and the Caribbean, I want to remind you that there are many work opportunities at the IDB Group. So find out more by visiting our career site. We'll put the link in the chat. Once again, thank you for joining, and stay tuned for future events. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.